Okay, we are on page 6.4. Page 6.4. We are going to revisit what we did in section 1, which is changing from radical form into fraction exponent form. So we have this radical here. We are going to change from radical form into exponential form. So what we do is you first take a, which is the base. What we're going to do is write this as a exponent that has a fraction. So the exponent that's inside is the numerator. The index is the denominator. Okay? All right. Let us practice really quickly. Number 1, square root 5. First, we write a 5. Now we're going to try to write the fraction. 5 is the same as 5 to what power? First power. 5 to the first power. If there's no index, what is the index? 2. So what is the fractional exponent? 1/2. All right, try another one. 4th root of a cubed. Rewrite the base. What is the fraction that I'm supposed to write? 3/4. 3/4. So the exponent goes inside, the index goes in the new denominator. All right, now we're going to change it the other way. 2/16 to the 1/3 is the same as what radical form? Cube root of what? 2/16. Well, actually, what is the cube root of 2/16? 6. So make sure you go back and memorize your exponent chart if you don't remember that. So let's have you do number 4. Actually, 4 and 5. Sorry, 4 and 5. So simplify as much as possible. All right, the answer is 2 for number 4 and 7th root of x cubed. Okay, let's talk about some properties of exponents that you have already learned in Algebra 1. When you have two things that's multiplied together, they have the same base, you add the exponents. For example, x squared times x to the 3rd is what? X to the 5th. All right, easy stuff. Now, the hard stuff is applying to fractional exponents. So let's try this one. X to the 1/2 times x to the 3/2. What do you do with those exponents? Multiply? We don't multiply. Add them. If they have the same base, you add the exponents. X to the 1/2 plus 3/2 is what? X squared. X squared. So x to the 4 over 2, which is x squared. Okay, so the same rule you have learned applies to fractions. All right, next. Power to a power. A to the m to the n, you multiply the powers together. See how number 1 and number 2 are different? Number 1 has 2 bases. Number 2 only has 1 base. Everybody always gets these confused, so please be careful. So for example, if you have x squared cubed, what is that? X to the 6, okay, not the 5th, okay? We're going to do the same thing to fractions. X to the 2/3 to the 3rd. What do I do? X squared, because what? Yeah, 6/3. So we take 2/3 times 3, which is 6/3, simplifies to x squared. Okay, so just cancel this 3. Next, a b to the m. That is distribution. A to the m, b to the m. So for example, if I have x squared y cubed, x squared y cubed, what does that simplify to? Actually, let's have you write it down first, what you think the answer is, and I'll call on you to answer the question. Write down what you think the answer is. Okay, Evan, what do you think the answer is?
X.
5? Not 5. Huh? 6. X to the 6, and then?
Y.
Y to the 3rd. All right, so we multiply. All right, now let's try fraction. X to the 1/2, y to the 3/2 to the 6. Okay, write down what you think the answer is, and I'm going to call on you to answer the question. All right, Trey, you look like you're done. What do you think the answer is?
X cubed and y to the 9.
Yes. Next, negative exponents. Negative exponent means we need to move. We gotta move that variable that has negative exponents. So for example, if you have x to the negative 2y, x to the negative 2y, what does this become? Y over x squared. Only the one that has negative moves. The one that does not have negative does not move. All right, let's try fraction. Let's do a weird one. X to the negative 1/2 over y to the negative 2. X to the negative 1/2 over y to the negative 2. Okay, I'm going to call on you to answer. Please write down what you think the answer is. Okay, write down what you think the answer is. Blake, what do you think the answer is?
I'm sure. I think it's y squared over x.
To the half, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, good. Next, dividing. All right, dividing. When you have something over something and they are the same, the powers subtract each other. For example, x cubed over x to the 4th. That is the same as saying x to the 3 minus 4, which is x to the negative 1. But wait, x to the negative 1, we just learned it. What do you do with the next negative exponent?
1 over x.
1 over x, move it. All right, let's do some fractions. X to the 1/3 over x to the 1/4. What do I do? What do I do? Terry, are you still with us?
It's just x.
Okay, x to the 1/3 and over x to the 1/4. They have the same base, so what do we do with the exponents? Subtract. All right, go ahead and figure out what the answer is. Do some fraction on the side. Don't use your calculator. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see. Terry, do you have the answer?
X to 1/12.
Yes. X to the 1/12. No, positive. 1/3 is bigger than 1/4. All right, next. A over B to the M. That is the same as distribution, so A to the M over B to the M. Okay, for example, x squared over y to the 3rd. Okay, write down what you think the answer is, and I'm going to call on you to help me answer that. Remember, you're just distributing the exponents. Write down what you think the answer is. All right, CJ, you have the answer?
I got x to the 6 over y to the 3.
Yes. Good. Now let's do fraction again. X to the 1/2 over y to the 3/2 all to the 4th. Okay, write down what you think the answer is. Okay, Mark, do you have the answer?
X squared over y to the 6.
Yes, x squared over y to the 6. All right, now let's do some practice. All right, let's look at this first one. 4th root of x cubed divided by 8th root of x squared. So remember when we talked about dividing in the first section, we said we can only divide if the indexes are what? The same. So can we divide? No, not yet. We cannot divide in radical form. We can in fraction form. So what we're going to do is change it to fraction form. I'm going to change this to fraction form, change this to fraction form. So go ahead and change it, and I'm going to call on you to tell me what the fraction form is. Change it to fractional exponents. X to the something, x to the something. You have a question?
I'm not going to answer.
Oh, okay, not yet. All right, let's see. Allison, can you give me the first one? 4th root of x cubed becomes what? Yeah, x to the 3/4. And then Andy, the second one. 8th root of x squared. Okay, so 2/8 and it becomes 1/4, right? Okay, now they have the same base. We are dividing them, so what are we going to do? Subtract. So x to the 3/4 minus 1/4. Okay, anyone has the answer for this one?
X to the 1/2.
X to the 1/2. Let's see. Okay, so when we couldn't divide before, we could, or we should check by looking at the fractional exponent. All right. Can we multiply them together? No, but not yet. We are going to change them into fractional exponent. All right, change it to fractional exponent, and then I'm going to call on you to tell me what the fractional exponent is. So it's 3 to the something, 3 to the something. Who haven't I called on today? Okay, Alana, square root 3 is 3 to the what? 1. Not third. There's an invisible 2, so 1 half. Oh, right. Daniel, so fourth root of 3 is? 1 over 4. Okay, so now we're multiplying them together. What do we do to the powers? What's that?
Make the denominators the same.
Yeah, so we're going to add them by making sure they have this common denominator. So go ahead and add them together. Okay, let's see. Brady, you have the answer?
Yeah, 9 to 3 over 4.
9? No, not 9. 3. You don't change the base. 3 to the 3 over 4. Yeah. Okay, so let's have you guys try number 3. When you are done, please let me know. Okay, the answer is x to the 5/6. All right, now let's look at these examples. These are actually pretty tough. So we're going to do a few together, and then you're going to do some on your own. 16 to the negative 2/5. Anytime you see a number that is not a nice number, or it means like 2 or 3, just like that, when you see 16, you need to remember to change it to exponent form. So for example, we memorize these, right? 2 to the first is 2, 2 to the second is 4, 2 to the third is what? 8, 2 to the fourth is 16, 2 to the fifth, times another 2. 32, 2 to the 6? 64. Okay, so you got to memorize these, all the interesting numbers, you got to memorize them. Okay, so 16 to the negative 2/5. 16 is 2 to the what? Fourth. To the negative 2.5. We got to change that to a fraction. 2.5 is what in fraction? 5 over 2. Okay, well, eventually you're going to get so fast that all of these common numbers, 1/4 is 0.25, 1/3 is 0.3333. That would just be automatic. All right, so simplify this. What do we do to power to a power? Multiply them. Multiply them. So 4 times negative 5 over 2, that is the power part, which is something you can cancel, right? 2 to the negative 10. Yes? What do we do with negative exponents? Flip. 1 over 2 to the 10th. Now you got to use your calculator to figure out what 2 to the 10th is. Two times itself 10 times. Well, you have to find out the answer.
1, 2, 5.
Yeah, 1024. All right, let's have you try one. Negative 32 to the 4/5. Negative 32 is an interesting number again. It is 2 to the what power? 5th. But there's a negative in front of it. Negative 2 to the 5th. And only for this case though, because it's the fifth power, negative 2 times itself 5 times, you do get a negative back. Does that make sense? If you have a negative 16, you cannot just say it's negative 2 to the fourth because that's a positive 16. Okay, please be careful.
What was the answer for this one?
1 over 1024. Okay, so it's this one to the 4/5. All right, go ahead and finish this one. Huh? 1 over 1024? Oh, you had to use the calculator.
No.
Put parentheses around. You see how I put negative 2 around with parentheses? Yeah, you gotta do that. Make sure anytime you have a negative number, you put parentheses around. Okay, let me know when you have the answer. No. Oh, wait. Huh? That one? No. This one is 3 over 2. The index is 2. Okay, you gotta solve it. That's right. No. Change it to fraction. X to the 3 over 2.
Why can't I do this?
You can, but because you did it, you didn't do it right. Actually, you couldn't. You couldn't because this index is 2, this is 3, we cannot divide.
But you time
Yeah, you still cannot. Good. 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 Okay, solve it. Not negative 16. Okay, that's why every time you have a negative, you gotta put
positive 16.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's 16.
16, yeah. So 5 and 5 cancels. You have negative 2 to the fourth. Please make sure you put negative parentheses around it, or else you're going to get the wrong number. 16. All right. This one, very tricky. I'm going to help you do it. Anytime you see a square root and a fraction, you need to change it either all to radicals or all to fraction. Don't mix them together. You're going to go crazy because you can't figure it out. So much easier if you do fraction. So we're going to change everything to fraction. All right, let's start with negative a. Negative a is the special number. Again, negative a is what to what power? Negative 2 to the third. X. Square root of xy. I'm going to do that on the side. Square root of xy. Square root of xy is xy to the first with an index of 2. How do I change this to exponential form? xy to the 1 over 2. And then what did we say about something times something to a power? Distribute, yeah. So x to the 1/2, y to the 1/2. So we're going to put that back in here. And then all of this is to the 2/3. Okay, it's getting crazy. You got to do it slowly and make sure you simplify as you go. All right, let's look at here. X is really x to the first. X to the first times x to the 1/2. We said if they have the same base, what can we do to the exponents? Add them. 1 plus 1/2. Hopefully you can do it in your head. 3 over 2. All right, now distribute. And then that should be an easy problem. Okay, distribute the exponents in and then simplify. Okay, let me know when you have the answer. The answer is 4xy to the 1/3.
Wait, actually?
All right, we are now, I'm going to let you do one. Number 4. When you're done, let me know. Number 4 is y to the 6 over 8. And then number 5, if you try that, is 1 over 2 x to the 5th.